The stars were dying, and Commander Zixthara knew it was the end of everything her people had built. She stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching through the view screen as another world burned. The mechanical ships of the Void Reapers moved across the surface like hungry insects, stripping away everything that had once been green and alive. "Commander, we have lost contact with the colony ships near Sector 7, reported her tactical officer. His voice shook with fear. "The Reapers are moving faster than we predicted." Zixthara closed her eyes for a moment. Her people, the Harmony, had been running from the Reapers for 6 months now. Every time they thought they had found safety, the mechanical monsters appeared again. They consumed entire planets, turning living worlds into empty husks of rock and metal. "How many ships do we have left?" she asked. 12, Commander. All that remains of the defense fleet. 12 ships. Once, the Harmony had commanded over 300 vessels. Now they were down to this small group of survivors protecting the last few million of their people who remained alive. The Reapers had appeared without warning from the dark. Space between galaxies, they did not communicate. They did not negotiate. They simply arrived, built their massive harvesting machines, and began consuming everything in their path. Planets, moons, even entire star systems disappeared into their mechanical maws. "Commander, incoming transmission from the surface," called the communications officer. "It's from the evacuation centers." "Put it through." Screen filled with the face of a Harmony civilian, one of the evacuation coordinators. Behind him, Zixthara could see crowds of her people loading onto transport ships. Children cried as their parents carried them toward the vessels that would take them away from the only home they had ever known. "Commander, we need more time. The transports are overloaded, and we still have thousands waiting to board." "How much time do you need?" "At least 6 hours, maybe 8. Zixthara looked at her tactical displays. The Reaper fleet was only 3 hours away. Even if her 12 ships fought with everything they had, they could not hold the enemy back for 6 hours. The math was simple and brutal. "You have 4 hours," she said. "After that, the transports leave whether they are full or not. We cannot risk losing everyone." The coordinator nodded grimly and cut the transmission. Zixthara turned back to her bridge crew. They were all looking at her with the same expression of desperate hope mixed with resignation. "Prepare for battle," she ordered. "All ships defensive formation around the planet. We buy our people as much time as possible." As her crew worked frantically to prepare their weapons and shields, Zixthara moved to her private office behind the bridge. She activated her personal communication system and began recording a message that she hoped would reach someone. Somewhere in the vast darkness of space. "This is Commander Zixthara of the Galactic Harmony Defense Fleet. We are transmitting this message on all frequencies to any civilization capable of receiving it. Our people are facing complete extinction from an enemy we cannot defeat. They call themselves the Void Reapers, and they consume everything in their path." She paused, looking out through the small window at the stars that had once seemed so peaceful and welcoming. Now they looked cold and distant, offering no comfort. "Reapers are a mechanical species, possibly artificial intelligence, that has been moving through our galaxy for the past year. They have destroyed 17 star systems and consumed over 40 billion lives. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They simply take everything and leave nothing behind." She attached the tactical data her people had gathered during their months of running and fighting. Ship designs, weapon specifications, battle footage, everything that might help someone else understand what they were facing. "If anyone receives this message, please know that we tried to stop them. We failed, but perhaps you will succeed where we could not. The Reapers will not stop with us. They'll continue to consume until nothing remains. Be ready for them." Finish the recording and set it to broadcast on every frequency her ship could reach. The message would travel through space for years, maybe decades, before it reached anyone who could understand it. By then, she and her people would be long dead. The bridge alarm sounded. "Commander, Reaper ships detected at the edge of the system. Estimated arrival in 2 hours and 43 minutes. She returned to the bridge and took her position in the command chair. Round her, the crew worked with quiet efficiency. They all knew this was their last battle, but they would fight anyway. It was what the Harmony did. It protected those who could not protect themselves, even when protection meant certain death. All ships, this is Commander Zixthera. Today we make our final stand. We fight not for victory, but for time. Every minute we hold them back is another life saved, another family that reaches safety. Remember that, and fight with everything you have. The response came from 11 other captains, each commanding the last remnants of their proud fleet. They were ready. The Reapers appeared on the edge of the system like a dark tide. Hundreds of mechanical ships, each one larger than anything the Harmony had ever built. They moved with perfect coordination, their formations precise and deadly. At their center was a massive vessel that dwarfed even the largest Harmony ships, its hull covered in weapon ports and harvesting equipment. All ships engage the enemy, Zixthera commanded. The small Harmony fleet charged forward to meet the overwhelming force of the Void Reapers. Their energy weapons flashed across the darkness, striking the mechanical ships and causing small explosions along their hulls. The Reapers responded with their own weapons, beams of destructive force that cut through Harmony shields like they were made of paper. Within minutes, 3 Harmony ships were destroyed, then 2 more. The Reapers pressed forward, their mechanical precision overwhelming the desperate courage of the defending fleet. But still, the Harmony fought on. They had bought their people almost an hour of time. Every second mattered now. Far away, in a small system on the edge of known space, a monitoring station detected the faint signal of Zixthera's distress call. The message traveled through space at the speed of light, carrying with it the last hope of a dying civilization on Earth. Lieutenant Colonel Jake Murphy sat in the Deep Space Monitoring Station, drinking his 3rd cup of coffee of the night shift. The station was quiet, as it usually was during the early morning hours. Most of the staff were reviewing routine signals from weather satellites and space traffic control. That was when the alien transmission arrived. Jake Murphy nearly dropped his coffee cup when the computer screens around him started flashing red. The Deep Space Monitoring Station had been quiet for hours, receiving nothing but the usual background radiation and commercial traffic signals. Now every detection system was screaming at once. "Amy, get over here." Jake called the communications specialist, Amy Rodriguez, who was working at the analysis station across the room. "We're picking up something weird." Amy hurried over, her boots clicking on the metal floor. She looked at the screens and frowned. "What kind of signal is this? The frequency patterns are completely unknown." "That's not the strange part," Jake said, pointing to another display. "Look at the origin point. This signal came from outside our galaxy. Way outside." Ben Taylor, the night shift tactical officer, joined them at the main console. He was a former Navy man who had seen plenty of unusual situations, but even he looked confused as he studied the data. "The signal strength is incredible," Ben said. "Whatever sent this message had to use massive amounts of power. This isn't some random space noise." Amy worked quickly at her computer, running the signal through every translation program the station had. Most of them showed nothing but static and random patterns. Then one of the newer programs, designed to look for mathematical patterns in unknown signals, started producing results. "Jake, look at this," Amy said, her voice tight with excitement. "The computer found something. It's not translating the language, but it's identifying structure. This is definitely an artificial signal, not natural phenomena." Jake leaned over, her shoulder to look at the screen. The computer had isolated several sections of the transmission and was displaying them as visual patterns. Even without understanding the alien language, they could see that parts of the message repeated in ways that looked like coordinates, technical specifications, and what might have been star charts. "Ben, can you make sense of these tactical patterns?" Jake asked. Ben studied the displays for several minutes, his expression growing more serious. "If I'm reading this right, this looks like battle damage reports and fleet positions. See these recurring symbols? They could be ship counts or casualty numbers." "Ship counts?" Amy looked up from her computer. "You think this is some kind of military transmission?" "More than that," Ben said quietly. "Look at the pattern progression. These numbers are going down over time. This is what I think it is. We're looking at a record of ships being destroyed in battle. The three of them stared at the screens in silence. The idea that they were receiving an alien distress call was almost too big to understand. Jake had been working at the monitoring station for 5 years, and the most exciting thing he had ever detected was a previously unknown asteroid. "We need to call this in," Jake said finally. "This is way above our pay grade." Amy nodded and reached for the secure communication system. "Who do we contact? NASA? The Pentagon? The President?" "All of them," Jake replied. "But let's start with Fleet Command. If this really is a military situation, they need to know first." While Amy made the calls, Jake and Ben continued analyzing the signal. The more they looked at it, the more convinced they became that they were dealing with something unprecedented. The transmission contained detailed technical information, what appeared to be star maps, and most importantly, a set of coordinates that pointed to a location roughly 30,000 light-years away. "Ben, look at this section," Jake said, highlighting part of the signal. "The computer thinks this might be some kind of visual data." Ben activated the visual processing program, and slowly an image began to form on the screen. It was grainy and difficult to make out, but they could see what looked like massive mechanical structures moving through space. The shapes were unlike anything in Earth's databases, angular and predatory in appearance. "Those don't look like exploration vessels," Ben said grimly. The image shifted, showing more of the mechanical ships. They were attacking something, firing beams of energy at targets that were too small and distant to make out clearly. But the pattern of the attack was unmistakable. This was footage of a battle, and one side was clearly winning. "Amy, how long?" "Until Fleet Command responds," Jake asked. "They're patching me through to Admiral Collins right now," Amy replied, holding her headset. "The Admiral wants to speak with you directly." Jake took the headset and straightened his shoulders. Admiral Peter Collins was the commander of Earth's newest space fleet. The ships that had been built in the last decade as humanity finally developed faster than light travel. If anyone could make sense of this situation, it would be him. "Admiral Collins, this is Lieutenant Colonel Murphy at Deep Space Monitoring. Sir, we have received what appears to be an alien distress signal containing tactical information and star charts. Colonel Murphy, I need you to upload everything you have to Fleet Command immediately. We're scrambling our analysis team, and I want every piece of data you've collected." "Yes, sir, Admiral. There's something else." The signal appears to show a battle in progress, and it looks like whoever sent this message is losing badly. There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Colonel, I need you and your team to continue monitoring for any additional transmissions. This is genuine. We may be looking at first contact with an alien civilization under attack." "Understood, sir." Jake handed the headset back to Amy and looked at his teammates. In the space of 1 hour, their quiet monitoring station had become the center of the most important discovery in human history. "Ben, start preparing a full technical analysis. Amy, keep monitoring all frequencies. There are more signals out there. We need to find them." As his team went to work, Jake stared at the screens showing the alien battle footage. Somewhere out there, 30,000 light-years away, people were fighting for their lives against an enemy that appeared to be winning. The distress call had traveled across the galaxy, carrying a desperate plea for help. The question was, what would Earth do about it? 3 hours later, Jake's secure phone rang. It was Admiral Collins. "Colonel Murphy, I need you to prepare for immediate deployment. We're sending a fast courier ship to pick up you and your team. The President has ordered a full response, too." "This situation, sir, what kind of response?" "We're sending the fleet, Colonel. All of it. If someone out there needs help, Earth is going to answer that call." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Earth's battle fleet had never been tested in real combat. They had been built as a precaution in case humanity ever encountered hostile aliens. Now it looked like that day had come. "How long do we have to prepare, sir?" "The courier ship arrives in 6 hours. Pack light, Colonel. We're going to war." Hung up the phone and looked around the monitoring station that had been his home for 5 years. By tomorrow, he would be aboard a starship, heading into the unknown. carrying the hopes of both Earth and a desperate alien civilization 30,000 light-years away. The galaxy was about to discover what humans did when someone asked for help. The hyperspace jump lasted 3 weeks. Admiral Peter Collins stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching the blue swirl of faster-than-light travel through the main view screen. Behind him, his bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Checking and rechecking every system on the ship, Collins had commanded Earth's space fleet for 2 years. But this was their first real mission. Until now, the most dangerous thing they had faced was asteroid mining accidents and the occasional equipment failure. Now they were traveling 30,000 light-years to fight an enemy they had never seen, to help aliens they had never met. Admiral, we're approaching the target coordinates, reported Navigation Officer Lisa Park. It's dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds. All ships, this is Admiral Collins. Prepare for immediate combat. We don't know what we're going to find out there. Blue swirl of hyperspace faded, and suddenly they were looking at real stars again. But the view that greeted them was nothing like the peaceful deep space they had left behind. Dead ships floated everywhere. Some were clearly alien in design, with smooth curves and strange materials that reflected the starlight in unusual ways. Others were massive mechanical vessels, angular and dark, their hulls covered with weapon ports and harvesting equipment. These had to be the Void Reapers. My God, whispered communications specialist Amy Rodriguez, who had joined the fleet as part of the analysis team. Look at all the wreckage. In the distance, they could see a planet that was half consumed. Huge mechanical structures covered one side of the world, stripping away the surface and feeding the raw materials into processing ships that hung in orbit like hungry spiders. Sir, I'm detecting active ships, reported Tactical Officer Ben Taylor. 12 small vessels, alien design. They appear to be running from a much larger force of Reaper ships. Collins studied the tactical display. The 12 ships were clearly outmatched, fleeing toward the outer system, while nearly 50 Reaper vessels pursued them. Even as he watched, energy beams from the mechanical ships struck one of the fleeing vessels, and it exploded in a ball of fire. All ships, battle stations, Captain Mitchell, launch your fighters. Captain Santos, move the Vengeance to attack position. We're going in. The Earth fleet moved forward. USS Defiance, USS Thunderbolt, and USS Vengeance led the charge, followed by 6 destroyers and a dozen fighter squadrons. It was a tiny force compared to the Reaper fleet. But Collins had one advantage: surprise. The mechanical ships were so focused on hunting the fleeing aliens that they didn't notice the human fleet until the first. Railgun shells slammed into their hulls. Collins had to smile as he watched the Reaper formations scatter in confusion. The aliens they had been chasing had used energy weapons which the Reapers had learned to defend against. But Earth's weapons were different. Railguns fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds, and nuclear missiles carried warheads that exploded with the force of small suns. Target their command ship, Collins ordered. All batteries, full spread. The USS Defiance's main guns fired together, sending a stream of tungsten shells toward the largest Reaper vessel. The projectiles punched through the alien ship's shields, like they weren't there, tearing massive holes in the mechanical hull. Meanwhile, Captain Ryan Mitchell's fighters from the USS Thunderbolt were having a field day. The Reaper point defense systems were designed to stop energy blasts, not fast-moving missiles carrying nuclear warheads. Fighter after fighter dove in close, released their weapons, and pulled away as atomic fires bloomed across the enemy ships. Incoming transmission from the alien fleet, Amy reported. They're trying to communicate. Put it through. The main screen flickered, and suddenly Collins was looking at the bridge of an alien ship. The being on the screen was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large eyes that seemed to hold both hope and desperate fear. Known vessels. This is Commander Zixthera of the Harmony Defense Fleet. Are you here to help us? Collins stepped forward. Commander, this is Admiral Collins of the Earth Defense Force. We received your distress call. We're here to help. The alien commander's eyes widened with something that might have been relief. Admiral Collins, I cannot believe someone actually answered. We thought we were alone. You're not alone anymore, Commander. Can your ships fight alongside ours? We will follow your lead, Admiral. Our weapons are not effective against the Reapers, but we know their tactics. The battle continued to rage around them as the two fleet commanders talked. Captain Maria Santos had brought the USS Vengeance into the thick of the fighting, her heavy cruisers' guns tearing apart Reaper ships with methodical precision. The destroyers, commanded by Captains Nick Davis and Helen Brooks, worked together to surround and destroy the smaller enemy vessels. But Collins could see more Reaper ships arriving from deeper in the system. The mechanical aliens were learning from this first encounter, adapting their formations to deal with human weapons. Commander Zixthera, we need to regroup. Can your people guide us to a safe position? Follow us, Admiral. There is a moon base in the outer system where we can plan our next move. The combined human and alien fleet pulled back from the battle, leaving behind the wreckage of 20 Reaper ships. It was a victory, but Collins knew it was just the beginning. The enemy had hundreds more vessels in the system, and they would be ready for human tactics next time. As they flew toward the moon base, Collins watched the alien commander on his screen. Zixthera looked exhausted, like someone who had been fighting a hopeless battle for too long. But there was something else in her expression now. Hope. Admiral Collins, may I ask how many ships Earth sent to help us? Collins considered lying, making their force sound larger than it was. But something about the alien commander's direct gaze made him tell the truth. This is our entire battle fleet, Commander. 27 ships total. Zixthera was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled, and Collins realized it was the first time he had seen any expression of joy since arriving in this system.
Admiral Mai.
People have a saying, it is not the size of the fleet that matters, but the courage of those who sail it. You have traveled across the galaxy to help strangers. That tells me everything I need to know about Earth. Collins felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with the heated bridge air. Commander, we heard someone calling for help. It's all we needed to know. The two fleets continued toward the moon base, where they would plan their next move against the Void Reapers. Collins didn't know if Earth's small fleet could defeat such a large enemy force, but he knew one thing for certain. They were going to try. Behind them, the Reaper ships regrouped and began planning their counterattack. The mechanical intelligence that controlled them was learning about these new enemies and their strange weapons. But they had made one crucial mistake. They had given humanity a reason to fight. The moon base was a maze of tunnels carved deep into the rock. Admiral Collins walked through the corridors alongside Commander Zixthera, their boots echoing in the alien-built passages. Behind them, human and Harmony officers worked together, planning the defense of the last free world in the system. The Reapers will return within 24 hours, Zixthera explained as they entered the main command center. They always do. They analyze each battle, adapt their tactics, then attack again with overwhelming force. Collins studied the tactical displays that covered the walls. The Harmony had been fighting the Reapers for months, and their data was incredibly detailed. Every enemy ship type, every weapon system, every attack pattern was documented with painful precision. How many ships are we looking at? Collins asked. Our scouts report at least 800 vessels moving toward this system. They have adapted their shields to resist your kinetic weapons, and they are bringing new ship types we have never seen before. 800 ships. Collins felt his stomach tighten. His fleet had performed well in the first battle, but they had faced only 50 enemies. Now the Reapers were coming with 16 times that number. They knew what to expect from human weapons. Chief Engineer Danny Phillips approached them, wiping grease from his hands. He had been working with Harmony technicians for the past 18 hours, trying to find ways to improve their combined defenses. "Admiral, I think we might have something," Danny said. "The Harmony ships use energy-based systems that are completely compatible with our power cores. We can retrofit their vessels with our weapons and armor." Zixera looked interested. "You can give our ships human weapons?" "Better than that," Danny replied with a grin. "We can create hybrid vessels that are stronger than anything either of our species could build alone. Your energy systems combined. With our kinetic weapons and nuclear missiles," Collins felt the first spark of real hope since arriving in the system. "How long do you need?" "With both crews working together, we can retrofit 12 Harmony ships in 16 hours. It won't be pretty, but it will be effective." "Do it," Collins ordered. "Commander Zixera, can your people work with our engineers?" "Admiral, after seeing what your weapons did to the Reapers, my people will do anything you ask." While the engineering teams worked frantically to prepare the ships, Collins met with his captains in the base's war room. Captain Ryan Mitchell, Captain Maria Santos, and the destroyer commanders gathered around a holographic display of the system. "The Reapers are massing here," Collins said, pointing to a position near the gas giant's moons. "Intelligence suggests they plan to attack in 3 waves. First wave will test our defenses. Second wave will punch through our lines. Third wave will finish us off." Captain Mitchell leaned forward. "What if we don't let them control the battle? My fighters could hit them while they're still forming up." "Too risky," Captain Santos replied. "They'll be expecting that after our last engagement. We need something they won't see coming." Dr. Alan Torres, the fleet's science officer, had been studying Reaper technology from the wreckage of their first battle. He looked up from his datapad with an excited expression. "Admiral, I think I found something important. The Reapers are controlled by a central artificial intelligence, but they need constant communication to coordinate their attacks. If we could disrupt their communications, they would fight as individual ships instead of a coordinated fleet." Collins finished. "Dr. Torres, can we jam their signals?" "Not jam them, but I think we can do something better. I've been working with Dr. Alice Chen from the computer division. We think we can plant a virus in their network." Dr. Alice Chen joined the conversation carrying a portable computer. "The virus won't destroy their ships, but it will create chaos in their command structure. Ships will receive conflicting orders, targeting data will be corrupted, formation commands will be scrambled." Collins looked at the 2 scientists. "How do we get this virus into their system?" "Someone has to get close enough to one of their command ships to upload it directly," Dr. Chen replied. "Very close. Almost close enough to touch." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. It was a suicide mission. Captain Laura Kim, who had arrived with the second wave of Earth reinforcements, stepped forward. "Admiral, my ship, the USS Retribution is the fastest vessel in the fleet. If anyone can get close to their command ship and survive, it's us." Collins shook his head. "Captain, that's asking you to sacrifice your ship and crew." "Sir, with respect, that's what we signed up for when we joined the fleet. If this virus can give us an advantage against 800 enemy ships, then it's worth the risk." Commander Zixera, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. "Captain Kim, there may be another way. My ship still has Harmony stealth systems. If we combine your speed with our ability to avoid detection, we might be able to get close enough and escape." "A joint mission," Kim said, nodding. "I like it." Collins studied the tactical display again. The plan was dangerous, but it might be their only chance. Without the virus, his small fleet would be overwhelmed by sheer numbers. With it, they might be able to turn the Reaper's own coordination against them. "Approved," he said finally. "Kim, Commander Zixera, you have 8 hours to prepare. The rest of us will create a diversion to draw their attention." As the meeting broke up, Collins remained behind to study the star charts. Tomorrow would determine the fate of both Earth and the Harmony. If they lost, the Reapers would consume this system and then continue spreading across the galaxy. Eventually, they would reach Earth. Amy Rodriguez approached him with a communication pad. "Admiral, we just received a message from Earth. President Barnes wants a status report." Collins took the pad and began composing his reply. "How do you—" Explain to the leader of your world that humanity's entire space fleet was about to engage in a battle they probably couldn't win against an enemy that threatened all life in the galaxy. He kept it simple. Engaging hostile force tomorrow. We'll report results when able. If we fail, recommend immediate defensive preparations for Earth. Outside the base, the hybrid human Harmony ships were taking shape. Human weapons bolted too. Alien holes. Earth armor welded over Harmony shield generators. They were ugly vessels, cobbled together from two completely different technologies. But they represented something unprecedented. Two species working together against a common threat. Chief. Engineer Phillips floated in space near one of the hybrid ships, directing the final modifications. Admiral, these ships are ready for battle. They're not pretty, but they pack a punch that will surprise the Reapers. Collins floated beside him, looking at the strange vessel. Half human design, half alien, it represented everything this battle was about. Different civilizations, putting aside their differences to protect what mattered most. Danny, do you think we can win? The engineer was quiet for a moment, then smiled. Admiral, I've been working with these Harmony folks for the past day. They're good people, just like us. They care about their families, they help their friends, and they don't give up when things get tough. If that's not worth fighting for, I don't know what is. Collins nodded. Tomorrow, they would find out if courage and cooperation could overcome overwhelming odds. The Reapers were coming with their mechanical precision and superior numbers. But they would face something they had never encountered before. The combined determination of two species who refused to surrender. The Reaper fleet arrived exactly when the Harmony scouts had predicted. Admiral Collins stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance, watching 800 mechanical ships spread across space like a dark cloud. They moved with perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with new armor, designed to stop human weapons. All ships, this is Admiral Collins. Remember the plan. We draw their attention, while Captain Kim and Commander Zixthera deliver the virus. Stay alive, stay fighting, and give our people the time they need. The response came from 26 human ships and 12 hybrid vessels. Captains and commanders from two different species, all ready to fight together against impossible odds. Captain Laura Kim guided the USS Retribution through the asteroid field at the edge of the system. Beside her flew Commander Zixthera's ship, its Harmony stealth systems hiding both vessels from Reaper sensors. They carried Dr. Chen's virus, the weapon. That might turn the tide of battle. Commander, how close do we need to get? Kim asked over the communication link. Within 50 meters of their command ship, Zixthera replied. Virus must be uploaded directly to their main computer core. Kim looked at her tactical display. The Reaper command ship was a massive vessel, 5 times larger than any Earth battleship. It bristled with weapons and was surrounded by escort ships. Getting within 50 meters would be like flying into the mouth of a dragon. Well, nobody said this job would be easy, Kim muttered. Meanwhile, the main battle had begun. Admiral Collins led the combined fleet in a direct assault on the Reaper formation. The hybrid ships performed better than anyone had hoped. Their strange combination of human and Harmony technology proving devastatingly effective. Captain Santos brought the USS Vengeance alongside the hybrid vessel commanded by Harmony Captain Valandra. Together, they punched through the Reaper front line, their combined firepower overwhelming the mechanical ship's new defenses. Admiral, the hybrid ships are working perfectly, reported Captain Mitchell from the USS Thunderbolt. His fighters swarmed around the larger vessels, protecting them from Reaper attack craft. The enemy wasn't prepared for this level of cooperation. But Collins could see that the Reapers were adapting quickly. Their formations shifted, focusing fire on individual ships instead of spreading their attacks. 3 hybrid vessels were already destroyed, and the USS Striker was badly damaged. All ships, Titan formation, don't give them isolated targets. In the asteroid field, Kim and Zixthera made their final approach to the Reaper command ship. The stealth systems were working, but Kim knew they wouldn't last long once they started their attack run. Commander, on my mark, drop the stealth field and go to full speed. We get one chance at this, understood Captain Kim. It has been an honor fighting beside you. The honor's mine, Commander. Mark. Both ships dropped their stealth fields and accelerated toward the massive Reaper command vessel. Immediately, every weapon on the enemy ship turned toward them. Energy beams filled space, trying to destroy the two small ships racing toward certain death. Kim threw her ship into a series of turns and rolls, dodging the incoming fire. Beside her, Shikstara's ship danced through the energy beams with the grace that only Harmony pilots could achieve. Together, they flew through a storm of destruction that should have vaporized them instantly. 50 meters in closing, Kim called. "Out, Dr. Chen. Are you ready? Virus upload system is active. Just get me close enough." The USS Retribution slammed into the side of the Reaper command ship, its hull scraping against the alien metal. For a moment that lasted forever, Kim held her ship against the enemy vessel, while Dr. Chen uploaded the virus directly into the Reaper computer core. "Upload complete," Dr. Chen shouted. Kim pulled her ship away from the command vessel, expecting to be destroyed at any moment. But instead, something amazing happened. The Reaper ships around them suddenly stopped firing. Their perfect formations dissolved into chaos as conflicting orders flooded their communication networks. Across the battlefield, the virus spread through the Reaper fleet like wildfire. Ships turned their weapons on each other, received contradictory movement orders, and lost all coordination. The mechanical precision that had made them unstoppable became their greatest weakness. "All ships, this is Admiral Collins. The virus is working. Press the attack." The combined Human Harmony fleet struck with everything they had. Without coordination, the individual Reaper ships were vulnerable. Captain Santos led a charge that destroyed 6 enemy vessels in as many minutes. The hybrid ships, no longer facing organized resistance, tore through the confused Reaper formations. Colonel Eric White, leading a special operations team aboard the assault ship USS Stryker, managed to board and destroy 3 Reaper vessels from the inside. His team worked alongside Harmony soldiers, proving that cooperation extended even to ground combat, but the most important target was the command ship itself. Admiral Collins brought the USS Defiance alongside Captain Kim's damaged vessel, adding his firepower to the attack on the massive Reaper flagship. "All batteries, concentrate fire on their command center," Collins ordered. The combined attack from multiple ships finally broke through the command vessel's defenses. Explosions rippled across its hull as critical systems failed. When the ship's main reactor went critical, explosion could be seen from across the system. With their command ship destroyed and their communication network in chaos, the remaining Reaper vessels shut down one by one. The ancient artificial intelligence that had controlled them for centuries finally fell silent, its mechanical voice replaced by the blessed quiet of peace. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Collins stood in the command center of the moon base, watching as Human and Harmony crews worked together to rescue survivors and salvage useful technology. The two species had fought as one. Together they had achieved the impossible. Commander Zixthera approached him, her ship having survived the desperate mission against all odds. "Admiral Collins, I have received word from the Galactic Harmony Council. They formally request that Earth join our alliance as an equal partner." Collins smiled. "Commander, I think that can be arranged, but I suspect this is just the beginning. If there are other threats out there, other people who need help, Earth will be ready to answer their calls." Captain Jack Thompson, commanding the exploration vessel USS Pioneer, had already begun making contact with other Harmony worlds. The news of humanity's victory was spreading across the galaxy, and dozens of species were requesting Earth's protection. From various threats, President Barnes, in her response to Collins' final report, established the Terran Defense Corps under General Patricia Hill. Earth would honor its commitment to defend peaceful civilizations throughout the galaxy. As Collins looked out at the stars, he thought about the desperate distress call that had started it all. Commander Zixthera had sent her a message into the darkness, hoping someone would hear and care enough to help. She had found more than just military assistance. She had found friends. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, full of threats that individual worlds could not face alone. But now it also contained something new, An alliance between species who believed that when someone called for help, you answered that call. Earth had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. And across the galaxy, other civilizations would sleep more peacefully, knowing that if they ever needed help, there were those who would come.